Hello, and welcome to the Notary Business Talk, the podcast dedicated to sharing ideas, strategies, and techniques to help grow your business and improve your life. And now, with more than 2 decades of notary business experience, your host, Abraham Zamora, the notary entrepreneur.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Notary Business Talk. My name is Abraham Zamora, and I am the Notary Entrepreneur. And in this episode, we have Ronnie Mickle with us again for our regular monthly segment where we talk about all things notary business and beyond. And for those of you who are new to the show or don't recall Ronnie and where he comes from, Ronnie is the original founder of Unlimited Ink Notary, which is a nationwide notary signing service company, and also the owner of Notary Stars, which is a online training and educational platform for new and aspiring and experienced notaries who want to take their business to the next level. So, Ronnie, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. I love doing these every month.
Yeah, and I wanted to say something real quick about Ronnie and I. Ronnie and I are good friends, and I've mentioned Notary Stars many times on the show before. I personally have learned from Ronnie. I attend his marketing classes every now and then, and I'm always on there just to get insights and get training myself. But recently, Ronnie mentioned to me that, so for those of you that don't know, this show, I don't necessarily make any money off of this show. This show, I do it for fun. I enjoy speaking in public and kind of giving my 2 cents and my feedback on things. Hopefully for you guys to get some value, right? But one of the ways that I've mentioned in the past, and I haven't done it enough, I think, but one of the ways I've mentioned that if you guys get value out of this show, one of the ways you guys can support the show is to support the relationships I have built with other business professionals like Ronnie Mickle, for example. And so even though the reason I mention Notary Stars is not primarily because I'm trying to necessarily make money, let's just say, I do really believe in what he's doing with Notary Stars and the value he's offering the notary community. But there are some things called affiliate links. And so recently, I created a page, and I don't promote it often enough. I tend to forget. It's on notaryentrepreneur.com/Notary Stars. But in the past, I've mentioned if you guys get value out of this show, go check that out. I created a little quick 5-minute video on Notary Stars and why I think it's valuable. And underneath there is a little link where if you click on that, it takes you to Ronnie's notarystars.com. It's actually an affiliate link, which means you don't get charged anymore for the service if you ever decide to use it, but I get a little extra, a little few dollars for that as a way of, referring him a new customer. So if you get value out of the show, I'll just mention it since I don't mention it enough. And if you want to support what I'm doing here, right? If you think I've given you some value and would like to give value back in return, I encourage you to go to notaryentrepreneur.com/Notary Stars. And then Ronnie and I recently discussed that we're going to do a more in-depth video on kind of getting into what Notary Stars is and kind of what it can do for you if notary is really what you want to do and it's something that you're trying to take serious. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably be coming in a week or two, this video where we're going to dive deep into Notary Stars. But anyway, yes, notarystars.com/Notary Entrepreneur. I'm sorry, notaryentrepreneur.com/Notary Stars. But anyway, let's
Abraham,
go.
Do you mind if I just say something? Number one, really quick, I love that you're disclosing that that's an affiliate link. And I do want to make this little disclaimer as well. Affiliate marketing is a thing definitely in this world, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I do love the fact that you are very transparent about affiliate marketing. And I want to make sure that people know they just can't just go sign up for Notary Stars and get an affiliate link. It's actually just a extensive process. We only allow notaries who have actually taken the training within Notary Stars to become affiliates, or trainers from other companies to become those affiliates, because we don't want to saturate the market with notaries just trying to sell Notary Stars.
Right.
I feel like there's enough of that on the internet, with people, talking about how much money they make. Notary Stars takes pride in the education that we provide, and we put the education before any amount of money because that's how you make money, is through education. So I appreciate the fact that you took the time to explain to your audience that is an affiliate link in that you get a monetary compensation from it, because a lot of the things we see on TikTok and Instagram and things like these days, urging notaries to purchase things or do things, they don't understand when they click those links, they are giving someone a commission for making that video.
Right. And I think it's part of the reason why I really don't share it often, because I recommend Notary Stars for the sake of recommending Notary Stars, whether I get anything in return or not, just because I think it's something that I think people should definitely check out. But yeah, I agree. And the reason I'm saying this is because recently I had a notary go through that webpage and click on that affiliate link and became a client or a student of Ronnie's Notary Stars, and so that was kind of exciting. But yeah, absolutely, yeah. I would recommend and have recommended Notary Stars without even mentioning the affiliate link more times than I have mentioned the affiliate link. So, but yes, you're right. I mean, the priority here is to lead people into not just to buy something for the sake of buying because I'm going to get paid for it, but because it's actually adding true value. And listen, for those of you who are listening to the show, I respect your time and your attention. You know, listening to an hour podcast while you're driving, I feel that I feel special that you guys listen to the show. And I know that you guys listen to the show. I mean, when I first started this show, about a year and a half ago, I was excited when I hit 100 listeners. And now I'm averaging about 1,000 listeners per episode. That means 1,000 people out there are listening to what Ronnie and I and other guests have to say. I mean, what a privilege. And the last thing I want to do is jeopardize that trust and that confidence and that you guys have with me, with Ronnie, and the people that I bring onto the show. I value that. I cherish that. That is the most important asset to me, is your trust. And so, but yes, I second what you said, Ronnie. Thank you for mentioning that. Now, as many of you know, Ronnie so going back to Notary Stars, Ronnie has a blog that he has on that Notary Stars website, and I constantly read it. In fact, that's how we originally got him on the show. Is I read one of his blogs, and it was so interesting. I wanted him to talk about it. And so, let me just, another plug here, if you will, notarystars.com/blog. And so these shows are typically tied to a blog post that he's put on there. And although we talk about it briefly, I always encourage people to go to the actual blog and read the whole thing, because we're not going to cover everything that's on the actual blog, and there's tons of value there. So I will direct you guys there. And then, so this month, and it seems to be a theme that it keeps coming up a lot, is the idea of finding ways of making money as a notary when notary isn't always there for you because of whatever reasons, the cycle we're in, or just it's slow and that sort of thing with the interest rates. The title of this month's blog is for Ronnie is The Beauty of Owning a Notary Business. Now, the title of the podcast is Additional Sources of Income for Notaries. And so what we're going to talk about today is how you can go beyond just being a notary and make money. Because at the end of the day, we need to talk about the business of being in business. A lot of us started off as notaries and began our entrepreneurial ambition because we got into the notary business. I call it the gateway drug, right? It's what got you in to becoming an entrepreneur. And most of you might have been employees, doing some other kind of work. And now you guys are notaries, and now you guys have that freedom of time, and you guys are enjoying what it means to be self-employed. And now we're in the situation where we're in right now. And so it's important to realize that this is very normal. It happens in every business that you're going to be in. If you're an experienced business person, you realize this, and this is nothing new. But if this is new to you, if you being an entrepreneur is something that you have never really done before, or is a new experience for you, the reason we're going over these things is because it's important to prepare for these variables in the business world. So first and foremost, I want you to step aside. And in the blog, Ronnie talks about how we use the word notary business owners. And the focus is on being a notary, but in reality, as the podcast states, or as the title that I've given myself, we're actually entrepreneurs, and the value of being a notary is the freedom of time that it gives you. I'll be very honest with you guys. I don't love being a notary in the sense that the work is not the most terribly exciting thing to do. I mean, we show up, we sign, we put a stamp on something. I mean, there's really nothing really exciting, romantic, dramatic about what we do. But it's a means to an end that gives us lifestyle, gives us freedom, it gives us an income that we probably wouldn't be able to earn if we were working for somebody else. For a lot of you guys, that is the case, and that's why you love this business, right? But things are maybe tough for you right now. Things have maybe changed, but you want to maintain that freedom. You want to maintain that lifestyle that you've gotten used to for the last year or 2 or 3. So the theme of this podcast is how do you diversify those income opportunities that you have that aren't related to the notary industry, right? Because as we know, the notary industry is heavily affected by the housing market, by interest rates. And so one of the best ways to prepare for a slowdown in income in the notary sector is to add or find additional ways of making money, but in a strategic way. And but what I mean by that is by finding ways of earning income in an industry that's unrelated, or more importantly, unaffected by the things that would affect the notary industry. That way, there's no correlation between the two slowdowns when we have a slowdown like we're having right now. So before I get into the blog, what do you think about those comments, Ronnie? And do you have anything to add to what I just said?
To be honest with you, I'm looking to forward to going right into the article myself. I know that you have a different title for the way that we're doing this, but I'm looking forward to the conversation today about the beauty of being a business owner and taking the word notary out of it.
Right.
That's what I'm really looking forward to talking to about today. I think you said it wonderfully, and it would, that's what I'm here for today, is because I want to talk about taking the word notary out of the equation, notary business owner, and talk about being a business owner.
So the first paradigm shift I think we need to accept is that we're notaries, but you're not necessarily in the notary business. You are an entrepreneur. And as such, we need to plan, prepare, and behave like one, is essentially what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Good. All right. Now, in the blog, Ronnie talks about different ways to make additional income now that we have this freedom of time, right? Now that, especially if you're full-time and if it's slow, you got a whole lot more time to do other things or do nothing and get depressed if some of you might be feeling that way right now. But he talks about 2 different ways of adding income sources to your existing notary service, your notary business. And one of them is services that you can actually add to your sort of existing business that sort of mesh well and sort of are an extension of the kind of notary service that we offer. And then there's a second list that he talks about in the blog about actual side hustles that have really nothing to do with notary, but can be done really, really well alongside the notary business. And we're not going to go over every single thing on the list. The list is pretty extensive and there's links, and it's a great resource. So again, if you want to check that out, I encourage you to go to notarystars.com/blog. And it's the most recent blog. If you're listening to the show, it's called The Beauty of Owning the Notary Business. But let's go into some of these ideas of earning additional income alongside your notary business, Ronnie. What do you want to say about that?
Well, you set it up pretty well. For me, when we're talking about being business owners, and taking the word notary out of it, right?
Mm-hmm,
We're entrepreneurs, we're business owners. We don't want to work for the man. We want to work for ourselves, or we want to work with, people like ourselves and make a living and love our lives, right?
Yeah, right.
And one of the things that I see is a lot of people get pulled into this particular industry, the notary industry, where we get those stamps, we expect that it's going to make money, and then they don't really understand, or we don't really understand at the beginning, self-included in the beginning, we didn't know this won't last forever, that real estate is feast or famine. And I'll see a lot of times notaries focusing on, just loan signings, and that because they pay higher rates and those sorts of things. So for me, there's a breakdown, and that's why I structured the blog this way. There are two avenues that you can take as a business owner, and I call it the beauty of owning a notary business. Is you have two avenues. You can choose to add more products and services to what you're what you're doing, and then you can also do things with your free time that won't detract from your business. And it's really important. And I want to say this right at the beginning as we start going through this. I can't tell you how many people I know out there that I've had this conversation with, and it is more than 60%. Okay, I'm sure of this number, and I'm making it up in my head off of just basic phone conversations.
Sure.
Where notaries tell me, and I give them suggestions, and they go, "Well, that's not what I went into business for." And I think to myself, I went into business so I didn't have to work for anybody else ever again who didn't appreciate me.
Yeah,
so,
freedom.
When we make some of these suggestions, we're not asking you to stop your notary business and not be attentive to it. You can give 75, 80, 90% to that business and then spend 10% of your time making ends meet to make sure you have revenue coming in as a business owner. So that's, I think, a really great way to kick off this conversation. Is we're not asking you to stop, if you're truly passionate, which I hope you are, about the notary industry and a loan signing agent industry, that you don't feel like we're telling you to just stop or give up or take a different path. We're just telling you, hey, there might be things that you can do with your free time right now that are income generating that you might like to do, and help you get through to the next uptick in the economy.
Right. And for some people, this might not apply to them, right? I mean, they might be doing great. Their notary business is fantastic, or they're doing it part-time. They really don't need any additional, they're retired, and this is just something on the side. Good. That's great. We love that fact that maybe this is not something you need. But if you do, right, then here are some options, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've said this story before, and when the market crashed in 2008 and you started shortly after that, right? Shortly after 2008.
I literally came in like right as it was happening. So for me, this goes back to our last podcast together. For me, that's when I really started getting off the ground. So for me, I didn't know about it. I started when it was not so great. So it was like a good time to learn and add services and do things. I didn't know it was going to get better.
Yeah. I
actually thought that's the way that it was. And then it got busier and busier and busier and busier and busier after that. So I kind of went through the first one. So, right now you'll hear notaries going, "Oh, it's dead, give it up." And I have to tell you, no, this is the time. This is the perfect time to start.
Yeah, really
if you
is.
just started and it was great, like 6 months when you first started, and then it went to the toilet, guess what? This is still the perfect time to start.
Right.
If it's your second time at the rodeo, this could just help you get through this time.
Yeah, and so what I was going to say about that, and it's absolutely true. So by the way, for those of you who are brand new or listening to this, you're barely wanting to get into it, you started a few months ago, and you're getting discouraged because this is not the way you thought it was from a year ago when your buddy was telling you about it. There's never a bad time to start a business. If you want to be successful in business, it has really nothing to do with the industry, the environment, the economy. It has a small part to do with that. But at the end of the day, it's who you are as a business owner. I mean, I've had people who have called me, who have found me on Google, that they said I was the first person that answered after they called 3 other notaries who they found online, who never answered the phone and never called them back. I mean, just picking up the phone will put you ahead of 80% of the other notaries who don't even do that much. I mean, so there's so much control and so much power you have, regardless of what environment we're in. And I have to agree with Ronnie. I mean, it might be tough for a couple of months. It might feel like it's slow, but it does pick up, and it's a good time to kind of reboot, re-strategize, while other people are just going to give up. And, unfortunately for them and good for us, there will be a lot of people that give up, and, but that benefits us, I mean, in long term.
I want to say this too. I love telling this to people because, we live in America. I know we're all segregated by state, in the notary industry. We have our own way of doing things in each state. But this is America, right? Yeah. And one of the beauties of living in America is the American dream. And I want to make sure everybody hears this that's listening. And in this country, if you can fold a paper airplane and convince people that that is the paper airplane that they need to buy, you will have a business. And I'm telling you, you have the world at your feet, no matter where you are, no matter what state you're in, no matter what kind of restrictions are against you or that you have to overcome. As a business owner here, you should never let anybody, Notary Stars, any other training course, tell you how you want to run your business. I see unique spins on notary business and notary and fingerprinting and notary and wedding officiant and lots of other combinations too.
Right.
How you want to run your business is really your decision, but you can't let yourself or the perception of an industry get in the way of actually becoming successful.
Right.
And I just wanted to get that out, in this too, because we live in a beautiful, beautiful country and a beautiful, beautiful position in the world. Yeah. It may seem hard to run a business here sometimes, but we are lucky that we can do it. And that stroke of law that allows anybody out there to go out and open a business, anybody could reach a level of success. And, some people say it's luck. Some people say it's these things. All I know is if you want it, you can do it. If you want it, it's waiting for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, and you're right. There are problems in this country that need to be addressed and fixed, and restrictions and regulations and all this stuff. And that stuff we should be fighting to fix and improve. But absolutely, there's really no excuse. You look at other countries and the limitations that they have, and compared to that, I mean, really, there is no excuse. And I will also say this, for those of you who are actually listening to the show, Ronnie and I are very optimistic. I mean, Ronnie and I get excited when this kind of stuff happens. I mean, behind closed doors, him and I are constantly on the phone. And like I said, outside of the show, we're friends. I mean, we talk on the phone and like on a weekly basis, we're having conversations about business and marketing and the way and the tone and the attitude is very positive. We're excited. I'm genuinely excited. And I remember when I did this I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'd say the last 15 years, maybe I didn't realize how lonely this industry can be. If you're home alone, maybe your family doesn't really know what you do, or your spouse isn't a notary and they have a job or whatever, and you do your notary signings. Yeah, you meet with clients for an hour or whatever, but then you come home. I mean, it's just basically you. So I hope you realize that. For those of you who are hanging in there, who are pushing through, who are working to make more of your business, you got myself, you got Ronnie, and a whole community of people who are here with you. I mean, we're all doing the same thing. We're excited. We're optimistic. And I think what Ronnie's saying is, and he said it beautifully, I think, stay positive. I mean, it has in the past always gotten better. 2020, the last 2-3 years ago, I mean, prior to that, it was slow again. So it's a cycle. But I know we're going to get into the different types of opportunities here, but I want to say personally, when 2008 happened, I was in that situation where all I had was notary business, loan signings. That was it. Loan signings was all I relied on. It was easy. It was simple. I didn't have to worry about anything else. There was plenty of business that was coming in. So who cares, right? I mean, I was busy. I was making a lot of money back then. Market crashed. There was no money coming in, no real opportunities for work. And so that's when I diversified. And that's when I made a decision to either go back to a regular job and give up on this freedom that I loved as a self-employed entrepreneur, or do something else, which is exactly what we're doing right now. And I did this back in 2008, right? So we're having this conversation all over again to prove the point that it just happens over and over again. And so back then I started my general notary business. So I learned how to build a website. I had no idea how to build a website. So I spent a year building a website and filming videos and learning SEO and building a Google Pages so I could show up. And then after that, I had to figure out how to get 5-star reviews so I can get my rankings high. And that was like a year or two of working on that. And then I became a wedding officiant and I added that to my services. And right now that it's slow, a lot of I'd say 70-80% of my business comes from, that effort that I put back in 2008 to diversify my income sources. So just to let you guys know, I mean, this is something that Ronnie and I have personally done, have personally been through, and so we're coming from a place of experience. But let's go into a few of these, Ronnie, a few of these services we can add on as notaries.
Do you want to go down the list, or do you want me to go down some of the lists?
Yeah, I mean, so here's what we'll do. I'll go over the main ones here, and then we'll kind of dive deep into a lot of them. Again, we were not going to go over the whole list. It's a big list, you guys, and I think we might bore you with this big old list. But I do encourage you, if you really are interested, go to the website, go to the blog, and kind of get the full list. But I would say, I mean, the top ones that I see here are obviously general notary work, and that in itself, I mean, that's a whole world. I mean, that's like the header, and then you have all these like bullet points under how you can do general notary work. You could just stay there and just completely take it any way you want. And I'll go into what I mean by that. But we have like, let's see. So trust signings, attorney signings, that's all under sort of general notary work. I think the ones that are a little different are the apostilles, which is very popular now. It seems to be coming up. I hear a lot about that now. Fingerprinting is also a big sort of add-on to a service to a notary service. Wedding officiant, which is, I guess, not really an add-on, but it really fits well. It seems to be one of those big ones. I'd say those three are the big three that notaries tend to gravitate to when they're trying to add an additional source of income. Beyond that, we have field service inspector, which is the same thing as like a permit. Is that permit runner? Is that the same thing, Ronnie?
No, it's not a permit runner. It's a field services inspector. That's where you can go out and you can do, and believe me, not all mystery shopping jobs are $12. I've done them for $30, $40. Yeah. $30, $40 for an hour's time is not bad. It's where you could go out and you can take pictures of homes and cars and do inspections. It goes along with photo assignments. There's a lot of things that companies will pay you to go out and take pictures of, or get video footage of, or do mystery shopping and fill out a report. A lot of things. And there's a whole company dedicated to field service inspections.
That's interesting. At some point, I think what we should do, Ronnie, is maybe create a little series of where we talk individually about each of these services. And I don't know if the audience would be interested in that. Maybe you guys can send me some feedback. You can always send me an email at abraham@notaryentrepreneur.com. Let me know if that's something you guys might want to hear about. So we'll do this. We'll talk about general notary work, apostilles, wedding officiant, and if we have time, maybe we'll talk about fingerprinting. The second list he has on here, and again, I'm just going to quickly reference this. Go to the blog, read for yourself, kind of get some ideas. But these are side hustles that he considers. Things like Uber and Lyft, things like Rover, which is a dog walking service, DoorDash or Uber Eats, that sort of thing, where you could do, even like, you don't have it on the list, but I was thinking even like Instacart, right? You could be doing an Instacart service. Things that you can do on the side that you can drop when it gets busy again and pick up whenever you need to. So we won't go into that.
That's a really important thing that you just said there. Is it's some of the ones you're listing right up at the top, and the reason I put them there at the top was because they can be dropped.
Yeah.
For instance, Uber and Lyft. I knew a massage therapist who was also a notary in Los Angeles when I was living there. And I thought they lived an amazing life. So if they didn't have a massage or a notary appointment, they were just driving Lyft until one of those appointments came in.
Right.
And it was easy because they could just turn it off. I admire people who have a lot of those things. And, for DoorDash, if you have kids of a certain age, old enough to sit in a car or help you out, you could actually go out with your kids in the afternoon and do DoorDash and spend time in the car. Maybe they could read their books or whatever for school. You could go out and earn some extra income. And I've seen a lot, and I actually tip more to the drivers. I do a lot of door dashing, unfortunately, because I don't have a lot of free time and don't get to cook as much as I used to. But I see a lot of families doing DoorDash together. So if you have children that you can't leave at home, but they can, stay in the car for 2 seconds while you could run in and grab the food, or they can run in and grab it. I'm talking 13, 14, 15, 16 age.
Yeah.
And what they do is, I've seen parents that split the money with the children. They get half the money that they make in the afternoon, and then the kids get a little stipend out of it just for helping out. And then you can be together and earn revenue. So there's a reason why that's up there. But keep going. Sorry. I want to get us off track.
No, that's beautiful. And I was thinking man, if you're taking your kids with you and you're giving them part of the profit, I mean, you're teaching them how to become an entrepreneur, right? You're teaching them how to make money. I mean, I would even that's beautiful.
Full disclaimer, if you have children that are not old enough to be in a vehicle and you need to know how to turn the vehicle off, take the keys, lock the doors, have a system, all those things, you don't want to send your children down a dark alleyway to deliver food. You have to be a responsible parent when you're doing those. And some of these services like Uber and Lyft, you cannot take your children or family with you. DoorDash just happens to be one I wanted to point out because I know for a fact, it is proven that most of this industry is dominated by females.
Yeah.
And a lot of females do have children and they have to keep, stay with their children. So that is a good viable one for our female based audience as well.
Well, and I'll say this, and maybe I'll get a little personal. So I'm married now. For those of you who know, I got married last year, and I've gotten a lot of congratulations on that. But before that, I was divorced for about 4 or 5 years, and I've been homeschooling my daughter since she's 13 now. So I've been homeschooling her since she was in kindergarten. She's finally going to go to public school. Some extra time for myself. But, as she got older and I could start taking her with me, for like a little quick one signing of like notary signings where I had to do maybe, one document and I could be where I could see her in the car. I would take her with me if I had to. So I get it. If you're a mom, if you're a single mom, if you have kids, you do what you have to do. But I think all of these things are just really good ideas that we're bringing to the surface here. So I like that. But yeah, let's talk about general notary work. And I want to say this real quick because general notary work can really give you an opportunity to sort of specialize in the kind of general notary work you want to get. So, for example, and this is how I market myself. So once I've identified the kind of general notary work I'm trying to get, then I specifically spend the time and I take the notary marketing tips that you've given on Notary Stars, and I focus specifically on those things. So for example, I like doing jail notaries and I like doing hospital notaries. They pay better, because obviously there's more to it than just a regular signing. So you're willing to get people who are willing to pay you more. And I'm so used to it because I've been doing it so often, for so long. So I like general notary work, but I specialize in jail notary work and hospital notary work, right? So, there's so many ways of tailoring this. What would you give people advice when it comes to general notary work? And what are your thoughts on that, Ronnie?
So for our community, one of the things that I see as a problem is that a lot of notaries are afraid of general notary work.
Is that right? Really?
Let's start at that level, just general notary work in general. I see notaries being very afraid to do general notary work because they may not know the document.
Okay.
And here's the beauty of general notary work. You don't have to know the document. It's not a loan signing. You're not there to explain the intention of the document. You're just there to ask the signer, do you understand what you're signing? You're not to go over it. You're acting as a notary, not a notary and a loan signing agent, which I always talk about, those two hats that people wear. You're just there to verify their identity, make sure that they're competent and coherent to sign the document, that they understand it, record that document in your journal and witness their signature. If it's a jurat, of course, we have to place them under oath. But it's actually a lot easier than loan signings. Now, you do have to kind of scan your documents, make sure that there's no blank spaces. Right. And do all of those things, but it's easier because you're not going over the document with them. You're not acting as a signing agent, and you can make really great money doing general notary work. Now, the other in-depth part of that answer is when someone does general notary work, like going to the jail or hospital, I also hear excuses, and I'm going to call it excuses. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I can understand if you have a compromised immune system and you don't want to go to a hospital. Completely understand that. I can understand. I personally stopped going to the jails about 3-4 years ago. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people know I started this company 10 years ago because I was run over by a car and broke my back in 3 places. I worry sometimes if a jail got out of control, would I be able to defend myself? But I still like the hospitals because I don't have a compromised immune system. So you've got to find general notary work that really fits you, right? If you may not be the notary that wants to go to the jail, you might be the notary that wants to go to the hospital. You might be the notary that wants to do both. And then you zero in on those things and figure out which ones you like to do the most. You might be the kind of notary that likes to do intake forms for personal injury attorneys or trust and family signings. So general notary work has a lot of options. Like you said, we have a lot of bullets. And then Beth did a whole presentation last year on Notary Stars, or 2 years ago, and it's sheets and sheets of things that you can do. So as you define, take your excuses and say, why don't I want to do this? If it comes down to, I don't want to be in a jail, or I don't want to be in a hospital, find one of the ones you like to do and zero in on it. And, you could do them all, or you could do one of them, but use your excuses to find which one you want to do. Today we had a jail signing with unlimited ink. We had a notary that needed to be actually we didn't get to go to the jail today because they're closed on Saturdays. We rescheduled it for Monday. They put it in for today, but I actually went out and personally did a will notarization with another notary. So we needed a witness and a notary. I went out, it was a special case. The guy didn't have enough money to pay for it. So we went and did it for free. I took care of the notary on our side as an unlimited ink notary, but I like to do wills, and I have a special way of doing wills, which maybe I should make a little training course on that. I have a whole thing where we record the signing of the will, we record what their ultimate intentions are, all of those things, and then I keep the video footage as well as to send it to the family. We do several copies of it just in case anything's done, and then we get them to file it with the state. We can do that in Arizona, but we also state that we're not attorneys and that they understand that this may not be for them. We had used the race seal on them. I love doing those, but I won't go to the jails anymore. So you got to find your niche of what you can and what you want to do.
Absolutely.
I know that was a mouthful. Sorry.
No, it was good. And I think the other thing that people are concerned about notary is how to market themselves and how to get business in the first place, because it's not as simple as being a loan signing agent. I mean, once you get your initial training, then you just sign up with a database like Signing Order or SnapDoc, and now you're in the database. You just wait for them to call you. But there's an initial sort of learning curve and a setup required to start generating leads and business when it comes to general notary work. And so maybe you can quickly walk through. I mean, I know because I've taken your courses and I've done it myself, but maybe you can walk through, like, what's the process of someone who wants to get into general notary work? Quickly, what is it sort of, and maybe we can do another show where we really dive deep. And actually, I think I've recorded a show. It's either episode 2 or 3 where I talk about how to build your general notary work business. But I know Notary Stars has a lot of that stuff. How does someone say they want to do general notary work? How do I set myself up to start getting business? What do you say about that?
So honestly, with general notary work, and this is really great, and I'm going to plug, I have a course that I'm going to be teaching for all notaries. Now, if you're a part of my marketing course, it's already available to you. You're already automatically registered. But if you would like to attend the course, it is $99. But I want to explain. I did Google My Business for free. So you have to do Google My Business and Yelp. Those are just things that you have to set up for when you're doing general notary work. March 11th, 2023, I'll be teaching a class on how to SEO a website. And let's say that you are a notary that wants to work at, or work with the jails or a specific hospital.
Now, for those who don't know what SEO means, search engine optimization, which means people can find you when they search for you online, right?
Right. Yeah. So imagine Google My Business only gives you 1, 2, or 3 position, but somebody might not be searching near you, so they're not going to see your position. They're going to see the notaries close to them that may travel to that jail, which could be across town. So what you want to be able to do is position yourself that once they call that Rolodex, when you talked earlier about how they don't pick up, how to make your website come up in, the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th position. Right. I can put my money where my mouth is, and I will be doing this on my course day. But when you're looking for a jail notary or a notary jail in Phoenix, Arizona, Unlimited Ink Notary is the first website that comes up under the Google My Business listings. And we get tons of calls for those. Same thing for St. Joseph's Hospital. I've got that on lockdown. I have videos, I have all of those things. So you start with a website for your notary business, right? Most people just Google the city name and notary. Right. But you've got to know how to write a website, and it's not that hard. I can teach it to you in a few hours, which I will on March 11th if people are attending. But you've got to know how to make that website come up. It's not about the prettiness. Google actually doesn't care what your website looks like.
Nope.
It only cares about the text on the page. And it's not just the text on the page, it's how that text is designed. And what I mean by design, there's a whole coding system, and every website that has a website builder gives you the layers that you can put text in. You can put it in as paragraph text, heading 1, but you have to know how to put that in there to make it logical to Google, how to categorize your website. Now, over 10 years, I've been able to master that, and I've taken every free course out there and read every book, and I stay up to date every year. That is where you really get into getting a lot of general notary work, is knowing how to get that page. And I don't mean one page, hundreds of pages out there, so that you're knocking off your competitors and all the BS sites out there that are dead sites that nobody picks up, where notaries go and list, and then it gets a little search engine ranking. You want to be able to come up above those search rankings and kind of dominate your search area.
Right.
And you got to know how to think like your customers when you're building these pages. And that's something that I teach you is, you have to sit down and think, if I wanted ice cream right now, what would I Google?
Right.
Well, if you wanted a notary right now, what would you be Googling? Would you be Googling Notary ASAP, Notary right now, Notary open now? All of these things are factors that you have to put into the search rankings in order to get people to use you more often or find you. And there's other ways that I teach in my marketing course that you can get general notary work, but it's really important that you understand it's not just throwing up a web page. There's a whole science to behind how a web page comes up. You might be really lucky if you build one and it comes up if you Google your name. But what if they're just putting in the word notary and not your name?
Right.
What if they're not looking for you specifically or your business name specifically? How do you get that website to come up and that page to come up? And everybody is charging $100 to $800 to help notaries with Google My Business and Yelp, which is free. And I put them on our YouTube channel at Notary Stars. It's free. And if you get a problem with verification, I have videos on for free how to fix that. If you're looking to do more general notary work, you have to know how to really navigate a website. You're not going to get enough from Google My Business alone or Yelp alone. You'll get a lot, but what about the other 50%? You only get one Google My Business listing, and then Yelp is usually the second thing that comes up. And then what happens when they go through those? Yeah. Because when people go, you do it too, no matter what you're looking for. You go to Google, you type in what you want, and you go through it like a Rolodex. You just start calling at random, whatever you need. If you're looking for Italian food, or they open, it's like a Rolodex. And you got to be in the other key is picking up the phone. And I try to teach this to business owners too. As part of my marketing course is, I can't tell you how many notaries I call from Unlimited Ink a day, and they act like I'm a telemarketer. Hello, why are you calling? And I'm like, you're a business. I teach people to, anybody who's ever called me, I pick up the phone. This is Ronnie. How can I help you?
This is Abraham. How can I help you? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care if you're a telemarketer or not, because I might try to convince you as a telemarketer to buy my services. So I turn it around on telemarketers. I let them know, if you're in need of a notary, I don't need your services, but if you need a notary, just let me know. Store my phone number in.
Well, and this is an important skill too, and I'll summarize kind of what you said, and I'll try and put it in a little simpler terms, because I know you're so passionate about this, and you get very
I do.
You get very passionate, and no, it's fine. I don't want people to get overwhelmed by everything you're saying, because it may seem complicated, and I know Ronnie's a very smart guy and he uses real technical terms here. But essentially, what you need to have is a website. Yeah, when you're a loan signing agent, you have your profile on, let's just say, SnapDocs, for example. That's like your version of your website. That's your home where people can find out about you if someone's looking for a loan signing agent. Outside of that, your website becomes that space, that profile where people get to learn about you. And so step one is to build a website. And it can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. There are a few things that you really have to make sure you put on there. That's not that many. I'd say maybe 5 key, I'm just guessing here, but kind of 5 maybe key elements that should be in there. Tagging and that sort of stuff. But that's step one, build a website. And there's a lot of resources, including Notary Stars, that can show you how to do that. It's going to take a little bit, particularly if you're not really technically savvy, but it's worth the investment. And I'm going to tell you why, because most of the stuff on this list will require the same skill. which is the marketing side of it. So once you have your website, then you have to put yourself out there on these directories where people who will search for you online can find you. So if you Google anything on Google, a pizza near me or pizza in whatever city you live in, those businesses have registered themselves with Google or Yelp or wherever you look at directories to find a business service that you're looking for. And I think at the end of the day, those are really the 2 steps you need to take to start getting general notary work, is have a website and be listed where people are going to be able to find you when they're searching for your service or your business. So that's, but there's a lot of resources, and I think the website, the blog talks about it. Notary Stars has a lot of information on that as well. So, and if you look at some of my older podcasts, I talk about that as well. Same thing with the apostille fingerprint. I mean, I think we can basically say that you would basically market it the same way, wouldn't you, Ronnie?
Actually, I love talking about these, and I want to combine these because they're really great to group, just like the jail and the hospital, right?
Okay.
So apostilles are a big thing, right? Notaries hear about something, we learn, can we do it? If you're in a rural part of your state, not close to your Secretary of State, apostille might not be a service that you want to offer. You may want to just tell your clients it's going to be easier for me to just notarize it, and then you ship it to the Secretary of State. You should know the process for each state. Most Secretary of State's websites lay it out for you. Judy Lawrence teaches a really great class. If you live close to your Secretary of State, Judy teaches how to hire runners, how to run them yourself, put all that together. So that's a really great one, but it may not be a viable solution for you, okay? It may not. So you need to look first at your Secretary of State's website and say, could I logistically do this and charge fair rates? Not just because I can charge $500 to drive 6 hours. Maybe you do have that emergency service if they absolutely need you to drive 5 hours and you plug in a hotel that you need to stay in and bring it back the next day. But it may not be a viable solution to make you a lot of money all the time.
Right.
Fingerprinting might be a better solution for you.
Okay.
Right. And I know Kimberly Nanali does one form of fingerprinting. We just talked to another notary today that does the live scans. That may be something that you want to do. Process serving, if you're in, I did that when I was in Los Angeles. That was fun, but I didn't do apostilles because I didn't know about it at the time or how to do it. 10 years ago when I was living over there. So you kind of have to pick those kinds of services and then know how to market them. So it's always picking, will it be viable for me? Will it? I don't want to tell notaries to go out and take a couple $100 course. I love Miss Judy, but I don't want to tell notaries to take a couple $100 course unless it's a viable solution for them, because learning how to do fingerprinting and buying equipment for it is an investment. Yeah. And getting into apostilles is an investment. So you have to look first, is this a viable move for me? Is this a lateral move for my notary business that's going to keep me above water or take me below water? You can't just add on all the services because they sound good. Right. They have to be stuff that you can actually implement in your area. And some areas may not have need for apostille. If you're not in a major metropolitan area, Phoenix or larger, it might not be something that's going to make you a lot of money and that you want to focus on. You may just want to know how to tell them how to get it. Right. And, notarize the docs for them. Whereas fingerprinting, people are always needing fingerprinting for various reasons. Realtors need it. We're looking at passports, all those things. People always need fingerprints. Hospitals need them. It's a big service.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the moral here is do your research, right? Find out what will work, what won't you, what you might like, what you may not like. I've had so many people call me asking me about how to become a notary, and depending on where they live, I sometimes give them tips and advice. Maybe find a mentor, find somebody who does it already, and figure out if there's a way for you to figure out what it's actually like and what it takes to do what you want to do. For example, you have I-9 verifications. We can't even do those in California. They're not allowed, right? So it would be silly for me to take a course on that and then realize I can't even do them in the state, so I think that's what you're referring to. But there's a big list here, and these are really meant for you guys to just get ideas. We're not saying they're easy or simple to implement. I think that's good news, because if it was, then every other notary would be doing it, and now you'd be saturating the market with a bunch of other people trying to do the same thing you are. But it definitely is something that, if you are excited about it, something that calls to you, something that you say, I'd really enjoy being a wedding officiant. I'd love to go up there and do, like in my case, do a ceremony and then cross my fingers that they'll invite me, to stay for food, because that's my favorite part. Then
I want to mention something about the wedding officiants too, because I know that you do them and I do them, and we do them very differently. So my claim to fame with wedding officiants is I've never actually charged for a wedding. So I've gotten a lot of really great tuxedos out of it. I've gotten a lot of really great clothes and a lot of great meals. But I like, most weddings are on Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
Just the day that people pick, because it's like a good day. I don't get away from the desk a lot. So when I became a wedding officiant, number one, I became a wedding officiant because when gay marriage passed, I wanted to be able to, marry people. And then my friend wanted to get married, and then people started asking me. And so I started coming up with this deal, and I want to segue into something here, but I only charge the clothes that you want me to wear, travel to and from, all the liquor I can drink after the wedding, and all the food I can eat. So it has to be in writing, and I will help you write your vows and do all of those things. I'm looking to start charging, because I've done, it's got to be at least over 100 weddings now.
Wow.
But it's not just weddings. I've actually signed marriage certificates where people just came to my home for the evening, and we had a glass of wine, and they were married because they didn't want a big ceremony.
Right.
And they paid me for that. Now those I did pay for, like, just come over and we'll just sign your marriage certificate. They don't even want to really do vows, because that's just how they want it. They just want the marriage certificates signed. And I've had people say, I'm getting married because we're in the hospital, we don't know what's going to happen, and can you go file our certificate? Those I do charge for, because you can take them downtown in Phoenix and file a marriage certificate. But the weddings, I've actually just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's a great networking experience, because you're the center of attention, other than the bride and groom, or the groom and bride and bride. You're the center of the attention when you're marrying the people. People come up and thank you and ask you if you have cards, and it's a great time to let people know what you do.
Right.
And believe it or not, most people's family live really close to them. So you're marketing to a big bubble of people and I don't think I've ever been to a wedding where people didn't stop and thank the minister or whatever. Or for the females out there, I have a cool term for you. Call yourself a ministress. I think that's a really cool term. I made it up myself. But
you got to trademark that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun, and I'll go ahead and plug this too. And then I'm going to beg you to do this.
Beg me?
Yeah, I'm going to beg you. So I want to remind everybody that March 21st, Mark Grolier from Unboring Wedding is going to be presenting to all of Notary Stars and Notary Stars friends and your audience, anybody that wants to show up. Mark, if you're afraid of doing weddings, is literally like the best coach out there. It's called the Unboring Wedding for a reason. He's going to be presenting about his course. He presented about a year and a half, 2 years ago at Notary Stars. And I hope that you'll come and listen, Abraham, because I think it's something, I know that you're really into doing officiant and growing that side of your business. I think he's brilliant. I think he's just
really
brilliant. He's out of Canada, and he literally makes $600 to $1,500 a wedding. He's got a great base, and I think if you're really learning to be a wedding officiant, that would be a really great place to start. Especially if you're nervous about it, if you're afraid of getting up. He's got how to write the vows, how to do all of the things. It's a step-by-step process, and it's probably the only and best wedding officiant training course in the country, or bordering our country. There may be others out there, but he's been around for a long time, and he's tried and true and trusted.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that. Now, what I wanted to beg you if I can make the transition into other side hustles to consider, because I know it's a long list and I'm going to go through it really fast, but I can make that transition into that. Do you mind?
Yeah. What do you have in mind? Go for it.
I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat.
To
talk about that side of the list, because we've been on services you could add for a while.
Yeah, go ahead.
So kind of transitioning into side hustles to consider that are not along the lines of your notary stamp or seal or notary business.
Right.
And I want to name the ones that I've done, because it's still a pretty long list. Things that I have personally done.
Okay.
And then tell you why I chose those things, because I think it'll help some of the listeners kind of understand. And I'm actually really excited about this because people don't know these things about me. Number one, I am a registered Lyft and Uber driver. I still have the stickers on my car, and I go every single time that they ask me to get my tires, taillights, all those things checked. Yes, Unlimited Inc. is a multi-million-dollar company, but I am not a multimillionaire. That is revenue that the company makes, and I pay good salaries to people and pay the notaries. What's left over, we put back into the business to invest. So I know in a downturn market, at any moment, I may be out driving Lyft tomorrow, and I'm not above it. Okay, so I'm registered for those. I love animals. There are 2 dogs sitting at my feet right now. I put them on camera as much as I can at Notary Stars. These are my second and third dog, but I literally paid for half of my wedding when I was married, using the money that I earned from rover.com that I never really cashed in. I just put it into an account. I am a registered Amazon Flex driver because it pays $25 an hour, and I live near a Amazon hub to be able to drive in and pick up packages and go deliver. One of the things I love about that, which I have done, is you may get only one package for a 4-hour block, and you'll make $100 for one package, or you may be given 30 little packages and work your whole 4 hours, but you get a 4-hour block, so you know you're making money. Another thing that I've done, I have dabbled in credit repair, but I will tell you, one of the best places to go to for credit repair is Credit Repair Cloud. I've dabbled in it. It is about as complicated as getting set up as a loan signing agent. So you will spend a little time and money getting set up, but I have dabbled in it and I do believe in it. The next thing on that list that I've actually done is I have been an Amazon seller. One of the things that I loved about being an Amazon seller, before Unlimited Inc. grew to this level and before I became a tried and true nationwide signing agency, I used to love being the 4 a.m. guy, the 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I was out really early, and I would love to make my money by like 12 and have everything scanned and ready to ship. And then I would just go to like Goodwill and Walmart and Target and look for things on clearance or whatever, and I would sell things on Amazon, just turn around and sell them for the full price. And sometimes I would make $15, $30 profits off of things that I would find. And, I had to stop doing it when I got married because they were like, there is too much junk in your office, because my office was like a notary desk and then all this stuff that I wanted to sell. So I convinced them to just let me sell down the inventory, but it was fun for me. It was fun going shopping, buying stuff that I knew I wasn't going to keep. And sometimes you get to open that stuff up and play with it or test it out and then just sell it to someone else. I have dabbled in being a travel agent. That's also really hard to do. Another thing that I've done, and I loved this too, was renting on Airbnb. If you have a 2-bedroom home or a 3-bedroom home and Airbnb makes things pretty safe. I used to own a vacation rental company, but I actually used to rent out rooms in my house up until I got married. And I wasn't married that long. You don't know someone until you live with them, but hope they're not watching this.
Oh boy.
The thing I want to say is I had fun hosting people that would come into Phoenix or, Los Angeles when I was living there, and I did it in Miami. I used to pay my rent by renting out, and I have an office that locks. I have an office in my house that locks, but I would rent out the room and I would have fun. I met some of the most interesting people from all over, and it was really cool for me to meet people from all over. And, when I travel, sometimes I find out that they have Airbnbs and I have a room to stay in. And once they stay with you and you give them a good experience, sometimes they're like, oh, if you're staying with me, I'll give you a discount. And I'm all about the discounts. I'm kind of a thrifty shopper. I mean, I really am. But those are the ones I wanted to go through. And the only other one I want to mention is another one is a dotted line to becoming a realtor. Now, I have a whole series on how to be careful. But for any good reason to become a realtor, even if you don't want to be a real estate agent, getting your realtor's license, you can refer to other realtors and get commissions for referring those realtors. When you are a realtor, you can get a kickback check for referring realtors to your friends and family. that is an amazing thing. And that's actually something that I'm pursuing. I've studied, and I just have to take the test. But I really recommend becoming a realtor, because you can make really good kickback checks on large purchases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're in the right area, of town, and you don't want to do the work, you just refer the realtor. And I have to tell you, I get asked all the time, you know, in this industry, do you know any realtors? Do you know any good realtors? You know, all those things. And if you're a social butterfly, it may be something that you want to add in as a dotted thing. So I just wanted to rip that Band-Aid off, because those are the ones that I really loved. And I wanted to give my reasons behind them, because I, again, love the dogs. I love the security. I love meeting new people. You may go through the list and find things that are for you that you may not like to people. You might want to be a bookkeeper or proofread books or write resumes. But there are things you can do to fill up your time to make money. And I get really excited about it, because I literally checked my Roper listing this morning. Like when I was walking my dogs, I was like, I haven't heard from anybody in a while. And I saw this new girl that has lower rates than me. So I lowered my rates so that she can't take my puppies. You know?
Yeah, that's all that stuff is good stuff. I mean, it's new, and I mean, wow. Even like I'm even thinking like, wow, even for my own daughters, you know, as they become of age and they get old enough, these are great suggestions just for, you know, for your own kids or for other people who may need additional sources of income. So this is good stuff. I was even thinking about being like an insurance agent. You can kind of do the same thing if you have your insurance license and refer to other insurance agents and split the fee and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think insurance agents, you know, I have a lot of Primerica, I hear a lot about. We used to do a little small partnership with Primerica, or I should say partnership, because it wasn't a partnership, but we used to let them come on and present. We have agents here that can help you get started with Primerica. A lot of people sometimes consider them MLA, but they're not. It's just how they do business. But there are other places where you can sell health insurance or life insurance, and those are really great side hustles for notaries. You got to think about all the people that you meet, you know, as a notary, and all the things you can do. I wish I could do them all. Actually, it's just I don't have enough hours in a day to do them all.
Right. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Ronnie, I think that's a pretty good wrap up for the show. I mean, there's so much. Again, we could go on for hours on this, and maybe, like I said, if the audience is interested, we can go into maybe specific shows where we just discuss one of these topics. So again, if you're interested, email me at abraham@notaryentrepreneur.com. And again, just quickly, just to remind you guys of the Notary Stars. If you are interested in Notary Stars, we talked a lot about them in this episode. I encourage you guys to go to notaryentrepreneur.com/Notary Stars. Hopefully by the time you check that out, Ronnie and I will have uploaded our new video where we discuss kind of more in detail about what it is and what it offers anyone who might be interested in that. And then any final words? I know you had some events maybe that you wanted to touch on, Ronnie.
Yeah, 3 quick things. So I mentioned the marketing course, and I mentioned that I'll be doing on March 11th. I mentioned Mark Grolier coming in. We have a tax tip that comes along with this blog, and I really want you to click on it when you read the blog or you get the newsletter with this replay. I'll put it in the link on our channel, and I'll provide it for you, Abraham, as well, so you can give it to your audience. But if you are doing multiple streams of revenue, this comes from Sue Hope from Notary Assist, who provides a lot of wonderful information for the notary community, and Glenn Hill, who we call the tax lady, but I didn't call her the tax lady. She calls herself the tax lady. That's her own branded name. If you are doing multiple streams of revenue, here's a couple of tips. Create separate bank accounts for each service. Keep detailed records of your income, mileage, and expenses for each service. Use different invoicing or payment systems for each service. Use separate accounting or booking software for each service. And so those are the tips if you're doing separate services, because you can't put them all under your notary business. Okay. Gotcha. You need to itemize them out and have separate bank accounts for them. Now, just 2 little mentions. On Monday, February 28th, we did an episode with eNotary Log recently where I kind of called out IPEN and said, hey, I don't know why all the notaries are spending all their money and you're not really, giving them business. So I invited this company on by way of writing an article. I wasn't really calling them out, but, they got word of it and they were like, hey, we are an IPEN company. Let's come on and present. it was the most watched episode we've ever had at Notary Stars, honestly.
Wow.
Like most watched replay, most watched everything. It's really a topic right now. So they are coming back on Monday, February 28th. It's going to be during our general mentorship, which is open to the public now. Anybody can join by going through our homepage on the calendar. Monday, February 28th, eNotary Log, Cyberize, Escrow Tab are all coming back to Notary Stars. And we're going to be having an important conversation, no matter if you are a Ron Notary or not, whether it's legal in your state or not, about how to market electronic platforms. If it's not available in your state right now, it's going to be one day. And this is going to be an important conversation that will help you get ahead of the curve.
Yep.
So we hope you'll join. It's absolutely free. And then the last thing I just want to mention, if you don't mind, is, Notary Stars Unlimited, last year we did everything from how to set up your business to mobile printers to training courses. This year our initiative has been to learn how to fight for your future as a notary. Laws and regulations can be passed at any moment in your state to make your job more difficult. Legislation is always coming up on the table. So we are going through every state group in the entire country. Every third Wednesday of every month, you can go to notarystars.com/unlimited, watch the replays we've already done. We've got the California League of Independent Notaries already involved. We've got the Georgia Notary Network Alliance. Arizona has launched its first notary advocacy group, which is being officially formulated. I'm building the website and the logo's already designed. We're about to unveil it. We've got North Carolina that has come in, and we have a couple of more groups that'll be coming in soon. So we're going to get a group for every 50 state and learn from each other how they're controlling, how they're controlling their legislation. It is really important that if you're in this for the long haul in this notary industry, to get involved and learn how, and at least know when petitions need to be signed or when your voice needs to be heard. We all have a voice, so please, I'll put you a link over there so people can register.
Okay.
I'd love for more people to attend and support their local state groups.
Excellent. Yeah, super valuable stuff. People should definitely be aware of all this sort of thing. And we'll put all those links that you send me on in the show notes for the podcast. So anybody interested in learning more about that, definitely go there and check that out and get some more information. Yeah. Anyhow, okay, great. Well, I think that wraps it up, Ronnie. Any last final words?
No, I just want to say I hope everybody listening has a wonderful day, and I hope you learned something. Hope you'll read the article. And for you, Abraham, it's always a pleasure. We do talk all the time, but we talk on the phone, so I don't see your face.
Right.
Like it's like a month goes by, I talk to you a lot, but then it's always nice to come back and see your face. I love putting that radio in it, because I don't know if people know this. You sound like this. I don't think I sound like this on the phone. I think I pep myself up a little bit more when I'm on video or when I know I'm being listened to. But on the phone, I'm more downbeat. I think you are the same person, so it's nice to put that energy to the with your face on the podcast. Like on this side, for those who actually see the visual, it's nice to put that smiling face with that upbeat, because you are that way on or off camera, or listening or not listening on the phone. You're just that bright light. Whereas I feel like I have to pep myself up sometimes. And I'm very candid about that at Notary Stars. I feel like I get there and the light comes on and then I have the energy. But on the regular telephone, I'm just like, yeah, okay, like let's do this, very business. But it's nice. It gives me I always walk away from these podcasts feeling really well.
Oh man, thank you for saying that. That really that makes me feel really good, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, all of you, for listening. I mean, talk about how many people listen to this podcast. I'm so excited. It's an honor. It's a privilege to have you guys listening to both Ronnie and I. We love your attention, and we wish you the very best. And until next time, make sure you guys are safe, stay productive, be well, and take care. All right, guys. Have a good day now.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Notary Business Talk. To learn more about becoming a notary entrepreneur, or to find out how Abraham can help you achieve your business goals, visit notarybusinesstalk.com.